That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I'm still waiting for this. Hopefully it popped up right on the YouTube. Whenever I'm the producer, it's never guaranteed to go right. I don't see it yet on my screen on the actual YouTube. So people might not be watching. I don't know. Do you see it on your YouTube?
I don't see it. I'm still seeing waiting for Run Pure Bets.
I don't know if it's like on a delay or here we are. It's up now. So I don't know how much they saw it or if it's behind, but we are up now. We're good to go. Whenever it gets caught up, it gets caught up. I have no idea what they heard, but we're back.
All right. Well, we're back. And if you didn't hear me the first time, I was just saying, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel as well, which is the channel we're on right now. Hit that subscribe button at the bottom. Hit the like in the video. And like I said, 12:05, JoeyWerk, Uncle Dunkle, and Holden are going to be on this channel right after us, giving out baseball winners. No one gives out better baseball winners, more baseball winners than my guy JoeyWerk. Crushes baseball on a daily basis. So check them out after we're done here. And Tony, let's get back into this conversation. We were on about to talk to Boston.
Do we want to just circle back and start with the first game again now that we got John Collins in there?
Well, I was
we don't have
say,
to talk about it as much, but yeah.
We might as well. We might as well talk the Collins news a little bit. I don't know. I'm looking right now to see if there was any. Was there any minutes limit given out, or was it
I haven't seen any minutes limit or anything. I'm assuming like he can't be like totally full run. I mean, what was his actual injury?
He's been out for a while.
Finger and a foot. He had 2 injuries.
Yeah, he's been out for a little while. So
I can't imagine he comes back and like plays some absurd amount of minutes. The bad part is it like clogs they're still shorthanded. They're still short rotation, but it does clog it a lot more to where even Okongwu becomes a little bit worse of a play. Like he was their only big for the most part before Collins is back in. I don't know. Like everybody becomes a slightly, besides Trey. I mean, he's a similar play, but everyone else becomes a little bit worse of a play. I still think they're all good plays or fine plays. It's just there's a little bit more murkiness to it for sure.
Well, here's the thing. I think it definitely makes Okongwu a little bit of a worse play. I think it hurts Gallo. It hurts Hunter because all those guys could go big, small with them, like play that 3-4 role. And now with Collins in, it kind of clogs that route where they could play Collins, Okongwu together, and then it hurts Gallo. They could play Collins at the 5 and either Gallo or Hunter, maybe they play Hunter at the 4 and have Bogdan, Herter, and Trey, which would then hurt Gallo. So like there's so many different ways they can go about it now with this extra, big in that they can play at the 4 and the 5. So definitely be cautious.
I think the most interesting part of the whole thing and the trickiest is now what we do with Collins because he's so cheap. I mean, he's 5,300, but I don't feel like crazy confident about him. But at the same time, man, if the guy gets 30 minutes somehow, which again, we need to wait for more news and see what it says. But like, he's so cheap if he gets run.
Well, how about this? Like, they should start him and Gallo.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to start him if he's in there. I would assume.
The problem is you give up. Gallo's been playing well for this team. You're going to take Gallo off the floor and start Okongwu. That'll be interesting. I want to see a starting lineup. I think he's in play as long as we don't get some like crazy minutes limit. Like if they said like John Collins is going to play no more than like 25 minutes.
I actually kind of hope they do say something like that because it's still like cluttered. I don't like cluttered situations where I just don't know. Like
you wouldn't play him though if he was only playing 20 or 25.
Yeah, I just wouldn't play him exactly. Yeah. It would just make it easy, and it would make these other guys better plays again. It's definitely tricky. I like the spots where we can just take a stance on it and go. You just don't know because I'm assuming he's got to be somewhat healthy if they're putting him in there, but they also just lost Capella, so they're a little bit in need. I don't know though. On the road, game 1. You would think he's pretty healthy to be able to play. And last game, he looked – I remember hearing the people talk like he was close, so I think it's good.
Right. Well, let's see. I want to see if he's in a starting lineup. I think that'll tell from a minute standpoint.
What are you going to do if he's starting? If we don't hear anything and they say he's starting, are you just going to play him?
I think I'm going to play some of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and like I said, I wish he was just like normal price. Like DK, which could have done us a favor and made him like 6,900 or something. And then just
made him 6,500. I would be like, yeah, I'm out. Like
anything over 6K would be tough.
Yep, I agree.
The report, PA Young in the chat said the report said gut it out. that doesn't sound encouraging if that's what the report said.
Well, they might be forcing him back a little soon because of the Capella injury. That is very likely in this scenario.
I don't understand why these teams, like in road games, I mean, we've seen the playoffs our whole lives. When you're on the road in game one, you should take less chances than anything because it's like a free roll game. It's not a free roll. People are going to jump on me for saying that, but it is kind of like, and it was the opposite yesterday for Dallas where they didn't have Luka and they were at home. It was almost a free roll for them, even though they were at home. Like Utah had to win that game, even though it was on the road because Luka wasn't in, obviously. And I don't know if Luka's going to come back anyways. My huge bet was Utah for the series. But point being, it was flipped in that case because they didn't have Luka. Like they had to win. If Dallas won that game without Luka, even though they were at home, that would have been huge for that series.
It would have been crippling for Utah if they lost that game without Luka, no doubt. So, all right. So, I mean, John Collins, I want to see if he's in the starting lineup. It does not sound good, though, when they say gutting it out. It's very plausible that they're forcing him back a little sooner than they hoped, and maybe he's not ready to play big minutes. So just keep that in mind. Definitely hurts the other guys, though, like Gallo, Hunter, Okongwu. Those guys specifically. So guys it doesn't affect, like I don't think it affects Trey and Bogdan. Like I don't think it affects those guys. Like they're gonna play.
It shouldn't really. I mean, just looking at it, it really shouldn't affect. I think it's just you can take them down just a tad bit, all those wings, like Herter, Hunter, and Gallo. I still think they're all fine plays. They're all cheap. They're all going to play minutes still. I mean, the one thing it does for me is probably removes Gorgeous Dong for sure. I was kind of excited to play him at 3K if Collins was out just because I don't think anyone was going to play him. And I do think he would have played like 18 minutes or something if Collins was out. That doesn't matter now, though. So I don't know. I think these Atlanta plays are still good, though. I haven't really changed my opinion on that. It's just a matter of what to do. I guess the best case scenario for us would almost be Collins not starting and just let us play these other dudes.
If he doesn't start, I'm just going to take him out. That's for sure. So
if he's on a 2 minutes limit, I kind of like what the Warriors did. We talked on the earlier part of this show, but if your guy is truly on a minutes limit, which that's not always the case, we've seen it 1,000 times over the years where they say that, they get it going a little bit, and then they play more. If they're truly on a minutes limit, though, you're better off doing what the Warriors did. Play them the last 4, 5, or 6 minutes of each quarter, depending on what the minutes limit is. And then you literally get him in all the crucial parts. I would do that anytime my guy had a minutes limit, just like
it's
that.
Like to save them from themselves too a little bit, right? Where they're not asking, like, let me back in the game. It's the end of the game, right? So they took that away from Steph because he's Steph. So like he could probably force back into the game. If you really
you're going to want to put him back in if his minutes, especially if he's cooking, if he's out there crushing. You're not going to want to take him out. You don't have a choice when it's and you're still getting him at the end of the half, the end of the fourth quarter, which is the 2. He doesn't need to start. Yeah, we like starters. You want to start the game good, but who really cares, honestly?
No, I mean, it don't matter. And when he's healthy, he's going to start. It's not like, they're going to keep him on the bench. So it don't matter. But Bogdan too cheap. I think he's got a really nice price tag on there at 5,600. We've seen him as high as like 6,800 or something like that. He can pop off for big games. So I would say he
was
has
awesome
a nice
in
price
that last
tag.
game. He only played 29 minutes, went 6 for 8, 35 fantasy points, only played 29. I mean, he could still play more minutes than that.
And again, at the end of the game, it was all Trey. Like literally there was no one else.
They couldn't stop him.
I will be stunned if Miami lets that happen, where it's just all Trey the whole. Will Trey have spots where he does some stuff. I'm not saying he won't. I'll just be stunned if like they just say like, oh yeah, Trey's just going off and they're just going to continue to allow it. Like at some point, a team like Miami is going to find a way to get the ball out of Trey's hands, whatever that means. And then some of these other guys are going to have to do something. So that's just what I believe. Good coach.
I have it in my head too. Again, I'm more of a field player than probably anybody in NBA DFS stuff. I have it in my head a few times the last couple of years where Trey Young, I thought this was a tough matchup, same thing. And then I just have it in my head that he crushed a few times, hit those deep shots where he comes off those screens. I don't know. It's a weird matchup for Trey where on the surface, I agree with you that they're going to double him and stuff. But for whatever reason, Trey and these little guards are just so slippery that it's not as easy as it seems. And I remember in the finals that we're going down a deep basketball rabbit hole, but when the Cavs with Kyrie and LeBron played the Warriors in the finals, the one adjustment they made is they started setting the high screen like way out, almost at half court, to where you literally couldn't double it. So he was kind of in Golden State had no adjustment to it, and that was with their small ball lineup. If you set that screen up higher, there's just there's too much space for these guards. They're just too talented. So I don't know. I'm with you though that I think that's what Miami is going to attempt to do. It's just
there's more room to work, right?
Yeah.
When you set it higher and you're a little guy and you're so quick and crafty and
there's just
deceptive.
so much room.
Yeah, when you get to a side and you come up to set that screen and roll and you're already like on the right side and they come with the double, it's so much harder. You can only really go backwards, right? Because a good double team, they're not going to let you just go around them. They're going to force you back. Like, so he has to kind of go backwards. Whereas in the middle of the floor, it's a lot harder to keep a guy like Trey.
Especially when he'll just shoot it these days too. Like if you go under, he's just going to shoot it. If you go over, he's going to make it work. I don't know.
That's why I think a hard hedge with Bam and then get back. I don't even like a double. I would just hard hedge Trey and then just get back with a guy like Bam. He's not going to pick up his dribble, but you're going to force him out of the initial action. And then from there, you got to take it as best you can. He's a tough guy to stay in front of, but you might be right. He could have big games no matter the matchup. So let's go to Brooklyn and Boston though. We spent plenty of time on Atlanta, Miami. Brooklyn, Boston. I think it's going to be a really good series, good games to watch. I can't wait. I really think that Brooklyn, like KD, Kyrie, like these guys, I think they're going to have some big games, no doubt in my mind. But Boston, good defensive team. They're going to make other guys have big roles. Like Bruce Brown, we've continued to see it recently. They're going to try and make Bruce Brown into a shooter. They're going to try and make him into a facilitator. And Bruce Brown has shown he can be a facilitator. He's shown that he can hit that corner three at times too. Recently, he's definitely played pretty good this year. But Tony, his price bump he's 6,500 on DraftKings. I think on FanDuel too, he's got it might be like 7K or something on FanDuel if I saw that correctly. Maybe even a little more. What are we doing here with the Nets specifically? I do want to talk about Bruce Brown because I do think he's a vital key cog in their playoff run.
Yeah, so this is what I noticed last game before I was super high on him that night when I shipped pretty good because I thought Bruce Brown was the biggest edge of that slate because I don't think people have realized just how good he's been the last couple of weeks, and I still don't think people have adjusted. Yeah, the price is up 6,500. Hopefully that scares people off because if you look recently, 40 minutes, 38, 40, 33, 33, 34, and he's gone for 50 plus, 40 plus in 4 or 5 games. He's just been a different Bruce Brown. And you just look at their roster, they just don't have dudes to play. Like, they're not going to go and play Kessler Edwards more than a couple minutes outside of when they need him. Every other guy they got is little guards. Patty Mills, Dragic, Curry, even Kyrie, little guards, like little dudes. And there's no wing besides KD, obviously. where they just need Bruce Brown. I think Bruce Brown and KD have less risk than anybody even Kyrie, because Kyrie, they at least have those other guards. I love Kyrie. I'm going to be high on him today too, but I'm just saying there's guys that can replace Kyrie a little bit. Obviously, they're not close to as good. There's no one that can who even comes in for Bruce Brown. Kessler? Like, there just isn't. I think Kessler plays like 8 minutes and Bruce Brown plays like 40 again, as long as the game stays close. So, and Tyler in the chat, how do you play Bruce Brown over Bogdan? Because Bruce Brown is a way better play than Bogdan. That's how you do it. He's going to play 40 minutes with Kyrie and KD. And yeah, his shot has been terrible, but I don't freaking care. The dude is standing there wide, butt naked, open. He hit a few last game, at least one or two. I don't know. Shoot the ball, Bruce. That's fine. If they're going to leave you wide open, shoot it. He's not the worst shooter I've ever seen. He makes a few here and there. Or drive, do something.
Shot is terrible, but I mean, look at what he's done recently. 3 for 3, 3 for 5, 3 for 3, 0 for 1, 2 for 4.
He's
1 for
literally
2,
wide open. Like we were talking on the phone last game. The dude's literally wide open. I could be out there shooting it. Like there's no one there.
Those numbers. He's wide open. He's still not jacking up threes. No. Like we're talking about wide open like the entire game. No, he's
literally wide open. Like anyone could go out there and shoot it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you get though with KD and Kyrie, attention. And you don't think the Celtics are going to give them similar attention? Like they're definitely going to give them similar attention. They're going to respect the hell out of those guys. So Bruce Brown's going to play this role for the entire playoffs, Tony. And if he can do what he's been doing and he plays 40 minutes. I think you take what you can in 40 minutes.
He's freaking explosive, too. People are going to start making fun of me because of how high I'm talking about him. But a couple of those rebounds he got in that last game, I mean, he's above the rim snatching those boards. Like, he looked really, really good to me. And we've talked all season at Run Pure about some of the edges with projections. The projections are not going to be high enough for Bruce Brown. I'm looking right now. I don't think the RPS projections are even up yet. Captain, get those puppies up. But the save projections like 32. I'm looking around the industry. It's like 31, 32 everywhere. That is not high enough. That's where we get edge. Like I would project him bare minimum. I'm projecting him mid-30s, but I'd even go even a little higher. He's just a really good play in this spot, and he's going to play so many minutes. The only way he's not getting there is if he's just awful in his minutes, but they can't take him out. They don't have anyone else. So I don't know. I really like him, and I really like Claxton. So we just talked about the wings. They only got one big. They don't really want to play KD at the 5 unless they have to. And so Claxton or Drummond's going to be on the court, and Claxton just looks so much better to me than Drummond. Like not even close. He's blocking shots. He's rim running. He's basically Rudy Gobert for 10% of the salary. So, like, he's just really good play at 4,600. I don't know. I like these Nets a ton, these key dudes. And we talked last game. I don't think Patty Mills is, like, an incredible play. But if you want to play Giannis and KD or two studs, you got to find some value somewhere. I mean, all he's got to do is stand there and shoot. I mean, what did he do last game? I know he didn't crush, but he looked decent in the game. He went for – last game, 16 fantasy points. I mean, not awesome, but that was also a game 7 basically because they needed to win to get in the playoffs. He could get extra run. He only played 17 minutes. This is game 1. I don't know. I'm not saying he's like a core piece, but if you want studs and you love your team and all you have to do is play Patty Mills to make it all work, I'm okay with that in the playoffs. So I'm super high on and another bounce back spot too, just because I'm high on Brooklyn, is Seth Curry. He was absolutely horrendous in that last game. Horrendous, but he's 4,500. That's cheap. These guys are going to play minutes. So I don't know. I'm high on Brooklyn. I'll see what you think.
Yeah, so I love Brooklyn. I want to start with the Drummond and Claxton conversation because you brought up really good points. And I think another thing too, just to kind of add on to it, I think without Robert Williams, it hurts Drummond even more because they don't even have that. Like, they're not going to play. I don't think Boston is going to play like the big center as much. Like, I don't know. They're going to play Horford at the 5 more. I don't think Feast is going to get as much run in this spot. So I think Drummond is off the floor just like you do. And the reason why Claxton is such a better guy for this matchup is he can switch on to Tatum and Brown and like at least move his feet, like at least be able to stay near them. Like Drummond can't. He's going to back up. Like Drummond will give up ground to those guys instantly. Claxton will at least be able to stay with or near them. They did it with Giannis. Like if they trust Claxton to stay in front of Giannis, they're going to trust Claxton to stay in front of most people in this league. And that's where I think Claxton makes so much sense is they trust him defensively to be able to get switched out onto these perimeter guys. And that's going to be key against a team like Boston, who's got Tatum and Brown, who are going to want to try and get those mismatches. They don't want KD on them. Like they don't want to have to go up against that. They're going to try and get these other dudes on them. And Bruce Brown's a good defender. Like, right, Tony, they're going to try and attack the weaker defenders, the guys that can't stay in front of them or maybe slower footed. That's going to be Drummond. That's going to be, guys like maybe even Seth Curry. Seth Curry's out there for his shooting anyways, not his defense, but they're going to attack those guys defensively, I think, for a lot of the game. And that's where Claxton's going to get more run. So I like the Claxton call. KD, I mean, is he the best spend up on the slate today? I think he's got to be. It's him or Giannis. And I think
I definitely don't think he's as good of a spend up as Giannis just in a vacuum.
One of them's going to be 40% and one of them's going to be like 15. So if you take ownership into account, I think he makes sense as a really good spend pivot. What if Giannis and the Bucks blow Chicago out by 30? Like, what if that happens and Boston stays close? Durant might have 70. Giannis might have 60.
Durant's going to be low owned too. We always talk about it, but projections just they don't give KD enough of a boost for the situation. I mean, he's projected. Let me pull him up again.
I guarantee you it's a massive difference. I bet it's a 12-point fantasy.
Well, yeah. I mean, because Giannis is always in the 60s, and then you got Durant right there with Tatum and Trey and Kyrie and even Jaylen Brown, Booker. He's in that bucket. He should be close. I'm not saying his projection should be the same as Giannis. You're not either. But there you go, Captain. I see you, Captain. Projections are up, Brittany says. I like that. But he should be in between the bracket of Tatum and Trey and Giannis. He should be in that mid-50s to mid to high 50s range instead of with those guys, in my opinion. Although this is where I do get better as the series goes, and I think JSU gets better as the series too, because for sure, like these ones we shipped last year were always later in the series because we know for sure KD is going to play 40 plus in those. We don't technically know that today. I think he will, but these coaches get crazy early in the series and they sit their guys longer than they have to, so it's a little different than
the only thing that makes me more confident is KD the last like 4 or 5 games has played 41 or more minutes. That's the only thing that makes me confident that he's going to play for. If they're playing him like that and these,
but they were all like basically must-win games too, though.
New York, Cleveland, they were already in.
But they were playing for the home court in the playing game. They had to win.
That's a good point. I think
it wasn't like.
Tony, I think it's going to come down to the game. I think it's going to come down to the game anyways. Like, let's say they're down in the first half. I'm telling you right now, KD will play the entire second half if he has to. Like, if they're down. But if they're up like 10, they'll pull him out. They'll give him a break.
And I like him anyways. Like you said, like Trey Young, I don't mind him. I'm not going to fade Trey Young, but I'm a little uneasy about the doubles and Spoelstra's plan. Kyrie, I like Kyrie, but I mean, he's the same price as KD for the most part. So I'm not going to fade those guys. I like them, but I clearly think KD is the number 2. And with the ownership, like you said, I mean, KD could end up being under 10%. I mean, it could happen. Just his projection's not high, and he plays the same position as Giannis. So, like, it's just natural that you're not going to get him much.
I mean, throw everything out. I get Giannis is just clearly, when you talk about like a raw, like spend up projection, he's going to be the best play on the slate, no doubt. But I mean, KD as a player is right up there with Giannis, and we've seen monster games from KD, and the ownership just makes me feel like, I don't know, I feel like in this spot, people do it wrong where they don't take, like, that has to be a big factor in this situation, in this, when you're picking these guys. Like, will I fade Giannis? I don't know yet. But if I do, I'm going to play KD because I need someone who can give me 70 like Giannis could. Let's say they both get 70. I'm still not dead unless like a bunch of values go nuts and I don't have both.
If they both get 70, you might be dead. That's a lot of fantasy
What if
points.
There's no values that go nuts? What if there's no values in the two stud builds? I've tried these. I'm going to try it.
I'll take my chances with both of them getting 70. I'll tell you that much. No matter what the two guys do.
I need someone who can give me that type of, big game if I'm fading. I don't know. That's how I feel.
I don't think the upside with these studs, I mean, we've been pounding the studs the last 3 weeks. I don't think the upside with the studs is as high in game ones just because later in the series, we've seen it for years. Like, these dudes are for sure going to play every minute, and their upside's massive. But just game ones, I'm a little more uneasy with, for sure. I like the mid-range, and I know you like the mid-range.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's the way I built. So we talked a lot about the Nets, the Boston side, just so I give a quick spiel on that. I mean, I think that Al Horford is a really good center option today. I think that he's good in the center spot at 6,600. Marcus Smart at 5.5 has to be a nice price tag for him. And then you've got like Jaylen Brown has a good price tag on FanDuel. So I like the FanDuel price tag on him. Outside of that, though, like I'm probably not going to spend 10K for Tatum. I'm probably on DK not going to spend 9.1 for Brown. They're going to be low owned, though. So it's just more of like an ownership question, just kind of like the KD conversation. But I'll play KD over those guys. So that's where I'm going to stick to. But I do like Smart. I do like Horford. And I do think another guy, maybe he's a little sneaky on FanDuel. He's cheaper too. And I kind of think you can take shots with him is, Derrick White on FanDuel. He is I think he's 4.9, and Boston could play small. And it's either going to be with him or Grant Williams when they go small. So I'm not a big Grant Williams guy, but if it is Derrick White, he could pick up some run in this.
How much is he?
He's 4.9 on FanDuel.
Wow.
So I think he's interesting as like a low-owned type play.
My only issue with Derrick White is it just feels like since he got to Boston, he's like really okay with just having zero usage. Anytime I watch him, he just and I've played him a decent amount too. It's just, man, he doesn't try to score at all or do anything. He's a good defender. He's a good player. He's just, I don't know if he's good fantasy-wise. He just doesn't ever do anything.
Yeah, see, I haven't played him that much since he's been to Boston. So,
that's been DFS good. Let me tell you, that's been good for you.
Yeah, I just think that he could pick up. I think he could possibly pick up minutes. I don't know if they play Pritchard 18 minutes a game or 16. So maybe that gives him a bump if they don't play Pritchard as much. If they don't play,
can't get much run in this game.
He's been getting 15 to 18 minutes consistently. So I'll be stunned if that continues. So who does that go to? You know what I mean? If he plays 10.
I mean, if you give 40 to Tatum, Jalen, close to 40 to Smart, I mean, you got 3 dudes. Horford's going to play mid to high 30s for sure.
Yep.
I mean, you only got really the one other spot, which is going to be Thies, White, Grant Williams, Pritchard, eating up the rest of those minutes. Man, I don't know. I'm with you on Horford, though. Yeah, Horford's got to be a pretty good play.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. He has to be with no raw. He has to play big minutes, and I think he's my favorite.
And he's a veteran. He's gonna make plays. He might not have 50-point upside or something, but I think he gets you a solid, almost similar to Bruce Brown in a way where they need him out there, just a rock solid mid price play.
No, he's that guy. Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a perfect comparison.
Similar price too. It's just. I don't know. They're just good plays.
Yeah, I agree.
You can play a team of all those guys, or you can play the studs and take your chances with the cheap guys. I tend to be more on the mid-tier early in the series just because we know what we're going to get. The studs could still crush, but it's like you said, unless they get 70, they're not really ending you. I mean,
here's the thing too with the mid-tier is, and we know this from following series the way we do and play DFS, they are the lowest price they'll probably be in the series right now, most of these guys. So what's going to happen is their prices are going to go up and up slowly as these series go, and then the mid-tier builds become a little harder and a little harder, and then the stud builds, I think, become
and then we go right back.
Exactly. So that's
like,
where you have an edge.
Horford was like 7,300. I wouldn't even consider him. And it's only a 700 difference. It's a very big difference, though.
Right. And in this series, could Horford get to 7,300? Very easily, I think. 2 good games, and I think he's right up there in the mid 7Ks. So that's
one guy I think we can fade that. I don't remember what you said. I heard you talk about all of them, but I might have missed this part. But I think Marcus Smart is going to be insanely popular, and I just don't think he's that good of a play. Like, I think his projection's too high. He's projected for like 35 across the industry. I just think that's too high. I just look at him. He's just not an offensive threat. He needs so many things to happen. I mean, he's got, just in his last stretch, I mean, he's got games like 17, 18, 23, 25. I know he's going to get a boost too. He's going to have to guard these guys, but that could mean foul trouble. That could mean a lot of things. I think Marcus Smart, anytime he's 50% owned, is just a play I'm going to try to be way under on.
The thing with Marcus Smart is, other teams are going to leave him wide open.
Yeah.
Like, look at this volatility. 0 for 4 from 3, 7 for 12, 3 for 6, 1 for 4,
shoot.
2 for 7, 3 for 10, 2 for 11. Look at what the teams are doing in the regular season. You don't think teams are going to see this, like the Nets, and be like, okay, this is who we want shooting. Yeah. But that's where you get the random. He goes from 17 fantasy points to 46.
And he 25. Definitely could, for sure. And so he can do like 6 steals one game too. Like, he can definitely, like, it's just a perfect, it's not the same as Kleber yesterday, but similar, where if you told me Marcus Smart was lower owned, I'd love him. But man, when he gets up 50%, he could just bust.
The only difference is he's playing close to 40 minutes if there's no foul trouble. Kleber, we knew wasn't playing.
It's different prices too, though. It's just a similar point, though, with the ownership, where Kleber needed like 20-something to beat us. Smart needs high 30s to make us pay. And I just don't know if he gets – sure, he could. Absolutely he could. But I think the chances of him getting like 23 are like, if he gets 23, half the field's just got that 23 locked in, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
See, the way I play Smart is if I'm stacking the game. If I'm just,
I would definitely do that for sure. Yeah.
So that's the way I play Smart.
And you don't have to worry about ownership as much.
Don't play him if he's like the only guy on your team from this game, though. That's where I think it's a terrible play. Like, if you just play Marcus Smart solely on a team and he's going to be that high owned and you have no one else in this game, I think that's where you do it wrong.
Now they're saying John Collins is going to be a game time decision. What? Don't do this.
Stay away.
We need to move on to this next game, though, or we're going to get bumped from our second show because the bets guys are coming on at noon. We're going to get bumped from 2 shows on the same day.
All right, Chicago, Milwaukee. We talked a little about Giannis. I think that's an easy thing. We're all going to agree Giannis is ultimately the best spend up. He's going to be the most popular play for sure in the top range. Maybe one of the most popular plays on the entire slate with a projection the way he's projected and no one else is near him. But the question is, who are we playing outside of Giannis in this game? Are we playing anyone? Like, I don't normally like playing a lot of these Milwaukee guys outside of Giannis. Like, Middleton's 8-1. You've got Drew Holiday, who's 7-9. Bobby Portis is 5'8", but they got Lopez back now. So he's, kind of cheap at 4.6, but I hate his type of run that he gets. I don't like anyone in this Milwaukee side outside of Giannis. And then I pull up the Chicago side and I look at it and I'm like, this is just a terrible matchup for a team like Chicago. They don't have a ton of pure shooters. I think you need really good perimeter shooting to have a chance against Milwaukee, the way they protect the rim. So like they got Zach LaVine, but outside of Zach LaVine, like none of these guys are like knockdown shooting threats. Like Io, Alex Caruso, Patrick Williams, Vucevic, DeRozan, like these guys aren't threats from the 3-point line, really. I mean, like Vooch is okay at the top of the key, but he's not like a threat. So outside of Levine, I don't really like anyone from the Chicago side. Tony, am I like off on this? Do you see anyone that I'm not seeing that you like? Because I don't like anyone but like 2 dudes from this game.
Yeah, it's tough for me. First of all, I agree with you on the Milwaukee side's easy. Giannis is going to be in play every game throughout the playoffs, no matter what his price is. A really good play. I'm not going to play Drew Holiday and Middleton until must-win games where I know they'll play 40-plus minutes and have a big influence. I'm just not going to play them in game ones like ever. I'm not going to play Portis. Not going to play the scrub guys in this game. Brook Lopez, though, at 4,600, he's been getting he's been trending in the right direction. I mean, just looking recently at his stuff, 25, 26, 46, 22, all in games that they didn't really need to win too. I don't know. His price tag looks decent at that cheap price tag, 4,600. So he's definitely going to make the player pool. And so to be honest, when I clicked on the Bulls, I just fully expected just to insta fade them all. But man, the price tags do kind of have me a little interested. I mean, Vooch at 7,700 feels pretty cheap to me. Levine
Tony,
at 7,500 feels cheap.
I hate to interrupt you.
What?
I gotta ask you though. You just said Vooch on DK. Vooch is 6,900 on FanDuel at 7.
And this sucks too, because honestly, like I agree with what you said though. I don't want to play Bulls. So this is where the game theory kind of comes in, because if the game blows out, these guys aren't going to get there. I don't know. The price tags definitely look appetizing. So it's either price tag versus matchup. And honestly, I'm probably just going to under project these guys and see if they still hit. Kind of like I've talked about at football, where DeRozan's projected for like 45 across the industry. I'll project him for maybe 40 or something. Like, I think you can safely project these 3 studs, and I'm not going to play the cheaper guys in this game, but the 3 studs, I think you can project them somewhere around 40. And if they high 30s, like Levine and Vooch, high 30s, and if they hit your builds, they hit. I don't think they're like core pieces by any means, but like when I'm playing 150 today, I'm not going to full fade these guys just because of price tags. Like, all 3 of these guys have 60-point upside. I don't think, again, back to your original point, though, and the people that watch our shows know what I'm saying. Like, I don't like these guys as far as the matchup, but, man, they do have upside. And these are the guys I sometimes get in trouble just fading naturally, and then one of them will sprout for 60, and my 150 will be dead. On your main teams, it might not matter as much unless you're, like, game stacking with Giannis or something. Another hard part, too, is I don't really know which of the 3 I like better than the other ones, because they're all very similar plays to me, like very, very similar. So I don't know. I'm going to project them all probably high 30s. And if they hit, they hit. One cheap guy that I think could be in my player pool for my 150 is going to make JSU puke for sure. But Tristan Thompson, 3,200. I don't think he is the worst play ever at 3,200 to go with some studs. I'm sure JSU
catching blowout run. Are you catching blowout run here?
I mean, he could catch blowout or normal.
Oh,
I mean, he's been playing. He's got that steady roll where he's been playing like 18 minutes.
Yeah, but you think in the playoffs they're gonna run Vooch only like 25, 26. Look at his recent run, like 30.
No, I know
like,
they haven't been playing him, but I don't. They might need Tristan to bang on Giannis a little too. I don't. Again, it's not a core play. I don't. I've talked about these cheap plays for all these guys.
On Giannis, though, don't you think they put Pat Williams on Giannis?
Yeah, I mean, again, probably so. I don't want to like take a stand on Tristan freaking Thompson. I'm just saying he's going to be in my 150 pool.
All right.
I mean, maybe Vooch gets in damn foul trouble or something.
Yeah,
these are the kind of things that
foul trouble. You might catch blowout.
And he's not going to be on my main team either. There needs to be a clarification too, like the difference between a 150 play where you're trying to beat however many people are in this field today, and then our 3 main teams that we play where you need to be a little bit more strict on who you're playing. Like in your 150, Tristan's a guy that could win you the whole slate. Like when he gets 30 or something, you might have a chance to win first place in that thing.
Correct. Yeah, big difference between those two.
I don't want to be on the Tristan ledge though, so don't put me on the Tristan ledge.
I won't.
I don't have conviction on it for sure.
I want to say though, what sucks about this, like, I hate when FanDuel, like 6,900 for Vooch, you just know he's going to be.
That's when I kind of want to fade him though, when he's even cheaper.
Me too, because he's going to be like what, 40%. Horford 7.3, DeAndre 8 and 7.4.
Caruso's projected to be chalk on DK.
Yeah, I saw that too. I don't even like
50%. Oh my god.
They got a lot of dudes, and I'm telling you, they're going to play Patrick Williams big minutes because they're going to want him on Giannis.
I'm just going to go with, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go against what I just said, and I'm going to fade these dudes. Like, I think Milwaukee's going to handle them. They got a lot of dudes, like you said. I mean, so what? If they get 40, if they get 60 and beat me, so be it. I just don't like the Bulls in this spot. Like, I always lose with this in the tournament, though. It's why sometimes you like can't ship right away, because it's like an MMA when a dude
guys out, Tony. That's my question. Are you going to under project, or are you going to X guys out?
The problem is, so say I get to the end of the night and I got a team I love and I come short because I had Zach LaVine instead of some guy I like or something, I'm going to be pissed. It's just, I don't know. I don't like these guys. I don't want to play them.
I'm with you. I might just X them all out too. I mean,
it's definitely easier when you got three teams like you do. Like, I get more worried about like if I got three teams, I'll X freaking anybody. When you got 150, it just puts more pressure on you to fully X them, because when they get 60, like say they get 60, you know you're not going to ship first place more than likely for that night. But when they don't, you're in good shape when you fade them. Screw that. How is Caruso chalky? Why?
Because he's cheap. I have no idea why. I think it's a terrible play.
I literally don't get that. He can't be chalk. He's seriously going to be chalk?
I told you, people don't have the Tony. There's not the obvious spend down, so people are just forcing in the one dude that's going to be the spend down. This comes back to my point where if you can find someone around Alex Caruso who you think even has a shot to like catch more run, he's instantly a better play than Alex Caruso at 50% owned or whatever he's going to be on this slate. Just instantly. Like Nick Claxton. I know he's not 4,200, but like I just think he's a way better player. Like way better. And you can't talk me off of that take. And I'm trying to find someone. I don't know about you, Tony. I'm trying to find someone like right next to him or
I mean Curry. Dan in the chat said Curry. I agree. Curry.
Beautiful.
I'll play Curry. And Curry was awful the last time we saw him. But that's even more reason just to jump him on. Yeah, Crowder. I mean, anybody. It doesn't even matter. Struss, exactly. Any of these dudes over. I'll take every one of them over Caruso. I'm not playing Caruso. I wasn't going to play him. If you told me Caruso was 10% owned, I wasn't going to play him, let alone his chalk.
Yep, I agree with you. All right, this game was easy. We talked about it. I think I'm going to end up full fading it. It's just Giannis might be the only one that I end up on one team, but I'm not sure. I might just play KD. I don't know yet. I might either go mid-tier route or play KD.
I can tell you're playing KD.
I can tell you I'm playing KD. This is where I like my three teams because I'll watch the KD game. And listen, if he gets 45, I'm probably not going to beat Giannis. But when KD goes for like 65 or 70 before Giannis even starts, you're going to feel really good regardless. Like that's.
I mean, even if he gets like 60, you're going to feel good. Post that score.
Yeah.
Even like 55, you just post that score.
We talk about this all the time. Like if I told you I'm going to guarantee you 60 and the guy's going to be lower owned than the other guy.
You wouldn't even have to say the low owned part. Just tell me the 60 and I'm going to take it. Like 60 guaranteed points?
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about fouls or blowout or injury or other guy going off or anything. I just get 60. Like, give it to me.
The only reason why I don't think like Io, Kobe, White, like all those other guys aren't in play is because I think Pat Williams is going to need to be on the floor against Giannis. And I think that just hurts all of the other guys outside of DeMar, Zach LaVine, Vucevic. So that's where I struggle to play anyone else outside of the three main dudes personally. So, All right, let's go to Pelicans in Phoenix and wrap this up for the baseball guys that are going to be on in a few minutes. So, Tony, if we're full fading one of these games, we've already faded a lot here. Now, I don't love the Pelicans in the series against Phoenix because you can make the argument that Phoenix is just the best team in the NBA. But there are some guys, some nice price tags for Phoenix. I mean, what are we doing here with Phoenix? You got Chris Paul at 7.6. You got DeAndre Ayton, who's got, I don't know, 7K on DraftKings, on FanDuel, a little higher than that, but like 7.4 or something. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, all these like secondary pieces that you could slide in to finish a team. How are we going about attacking Phoenix in New Orleans?
Phoenix is the team I struggle with more than like any team in basketball because they're just so good and they're at home. They have the best home court in basketball, in my opinion. They're just so good that I really, really struggle with them. And Chris Paul, I have interest in, but man, just looking at these prices, like I'm definitely not paying $9K for Booker in this spot. The wings, like I don't like these wings more than I would like, say, Atlanta, even with or without Collins. I like these wings more. Like I'm not waiting till the late game to play Cam Johnson at 5K or Bridges at 5,200. I'm just not playing those guys in that spot. Jay Crowder at 4,200. That's a little bit different because he is in that cheaper price where we just talked about that price. I could definitely play Crowder at 42 and Chris Paul at 7,600 in that mid-range build. I like him a lot. Ayton, I agree with. He's going to be in my player pool too. Good matchup for Ayton. I think that's just those three for me, though, with Phoenix. I'm definitely not playing Booker. Yeah, just those three. I don't see anyone else. And no other price tag sticks out even remotely. And then the New Orleans side, people are going to jam Ingram for sure at 7,800. People are going to love it. I am going to love it because I don't like it at all. I'm not an Ingram fan. The other night, the dude was awesome the other night, and then he just freaking went totally. He just left the building for a while. I mean, he was amazing the other night. 14 for 20. This is why I don't play Brandon Ingram. 14 for 21, 43 minutes, 45 fantasy points. Like, that's an incredible game in 43 minutes.
And how many of those points were in the first quarter? The dude was insane in the first quarter.
Insane in the first quarter.
Like, I'm sorry,
but
this is also a bad matchup for him. Listen, what they didn't have was someone with length who was quick on their feet to guard someone like Brandon Ingram.
Once they switched it, he couldn't score.
Yeah, look at what Phoenix has. They got Cam Johnson. They got Mikal Bridges. They got Jay Crowder. They got multiple dudes that they can throw at him. They don't even have just one dude. They got multiple dudes to give him different looks so it doesn't burn out just one guy. You're going to see it, and they all got length. They all are quick on their feet. They all can stay in front of guys like him. Yeah. This is a tougher matchup for someone like Brandon Ingram, even someone like CJ too. I think it's a tougher matchup.
Phoenix is just a nightmare for everybody. Even Joe Val, like Aiden's a good defender.
These one-on-one dudes, though, is my point. Like teams that play this like ISO basketball where it's all about getting this one guy in space and then him attacking. This is a bad matchup for teams like that because, like you said, with Ayton and Joe Val, that's a tough one for him. Like, I don't know. And we had someone in chat. It was a while ago. I think it was Tyler in chat. He said, I struggle to play Horford with Joe Val only 600 more in a matchup that will stay big. I understand that the matchup will stay big. I just think it's a bad matchup, though. I think it's a bad matchup. And I think
Joe Val's okay, but like
no, but I think Horford just has I think Horford has a better matchup personally. That's me, but
yeah.
I don't know. So Tony, we don't love the matchup. So what do you think of some of these other guys like Trey Murphy, who got some run and could get run either way the game goes? They were they were very fine playing him down the stretch, which I thought was interesting.
He won the game for him.
I mean, completely out. Like I love that. He, like you said, he hit some big threes down the stretch. What about someone like him at 3,500? I don't know if he's going to get ownership. Like, I don't know if he's going to be popular, but he's cheap.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah. No, I like that call a lot. He won the game for him. Like, he literally won that game. He was good too, and he's a young guy. These young guys can take the biggest leaps of anybody. I mean, we've seen it year over year over year. I'm not saying he's like a stud, but these young guys get a little confidence. He can shoot the ball, which is I like him as a value, especially on these stud teams. I like playing my cheap guy later in the night like him that I know will be low owned. Some other people might punt early in the day, but you just got that late little nudge from a low-owned guy that who knows? Maybe he gets hot and hits 7 threes or something, and he could get blowout run on top of it. There's a lot of outs with Murphy, so I like that call a ton for him. And I don't know, I'm kind of coming around on Joe Val a little bit with the chat. I think I pride myself on not being too stubborn with stuff where I didn't like him at first, but the more I'm thinking about it, you brought it up how bad I think the matchup is for the CJ and BI.
Oh, he has a better matchup than those two guys for sure.
And like one of those big three has to do something. Like they can't all just get shut down. So I'm coming around. 7,300 is a cheaper price. I don't like him more than Horford, but you can put him in a similar build. And
that was the question.
Around on Joe Val.
That was the question though, Tony, was playing him over Horford.
Yeah, I like Horford more. Let me look at
I personally, but I get it though. If I'm going to pick one New Orleans stud, it's definitely Joe Val. Like I'm not playing CJ and Brandon Ingram, like you said. He had the best game. He had a friggin' amazing game, and he only dropped 45 fantasy points. Like because he's so scoring dependent. Like it's just if he's
I'm never going to play 30, BI. Like the only time I play BI is when he's my last guy in, and it's just like I have to play BI. He's never the first guy I put in ever, like ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, they said you can play him and Joe Val. You're right, you can. If you do a mid-tier build, you can fit both those guys in. I don't hate that build if you're doing a mid-tier build. So, yeah, and Trey Murphy, he might be sneakily one of my favorite cheapies just for tournaments.
Like, I think he's a very good play, especially in that build where you play the two studs. I mean, in my 3 teams, I have to play at least one of those where I have the 2 studs. I just have to. Like he's played 20 plus minutes the last 3 games. He won that game for me. He had 25 fantasy points. I think it's a very, very sneaky play, especially if you're fading this game. Like if you want one guy in the late game and you're fading this and hoping maybe it blows out type thing, it's nice to have that one guy late that who knows, maybe everyone's off the floor at the end and you get 6 minutes of run with this dude when everyone's out or something.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. Either way it goes, we definitely get it. I see in chat someone's asking for thoughts on Grant Williams.
Yeah, we're not.
I'm not the big Grant Williams guy to ask on Grant Williams thoughts.
He's not even cheap anymore, is he?
No, he's like 3.9 or 4.1, somewhere in that range. I mean, could he pick up run? Like, could he play minutes? I definitely think so. But Tony talks about it all the time. There's a big difference between Grant Williams at 3.2 and Grant Williams at 4.1, on top of the fact that I hate him.
He's bad. He's
bad.
Terrible. Like Grant Williams is the guy, if he was 3,100 tonight and you could play 2 studs, like he'd be one of the ones I'm like, man, maybe he can get us 18.
You wouldn't think about playing him is the best part. You would just think about it. You wouldn't just
I hate it. You would think about 4K, like, there's no way you can play him at 4K.
Yep, I agree. Trey Murphy swung the game. Yeah, he definitely did.
If Devontae Graham was 2K on DK, I wouldn't play Devontae Graham ever. He's completely fallen off he didn't even play last game, did he?
He played 3 minutes.
I didn't even remember him going in.
So he came in the beginning, Tony, and never came back after that. Like he played three or 4 minutes and just never came back in after, which I don't know why he even played the 3 or 4 minutes. Like, just give Trey Murphy that run, or give Alvarado. Even Alvarado, like at least he was like pressuring dudes and like giving people problems, like hustling. Like play him.
Tucker on Murphy. What is PJ Tucker? Oh, or Murphy. I thought it said on Murphy. I was like, what does that mean? That's where you just gotta choose. I mean, PJ Tucker is definitely safer.
Yeah, those are the
PJ
questions.
Tucker might have more upside. I think I like PJ Tucker more, but Murphy's sneakier.
Yeah. Yep,
I mean, for sure PJ Tucker's playing. Like, you don't know for sure Murphy is playing.
You have to be thinking too. They've been kind of, PJ hasn't been playing a ton. He's been in and out. You have to think they've been kind of just saved. Like, playoffs we're the 1 seed. Playoffs are coming. We need you for this. Like, we don't, we can win some regular season games. We don't need you for that. So. We got Joey Work. I see Joey Work in the chat. Are we ready for Joey Work? We're always ready for Joey Work. I mean, come on. Like, what do you mean? Are we ready?
M. Westlake says, think you can fade Giannis and KD? Yeah, the mid-tier build is a great build because there's not any value we love. Yeah, we like the studs too, but the mid-tier is definitely the build that I like.
I mean, we saw it yesterday, right? We saw some stud builds up at the top. We saw some mid-tier builds up at the top. Like, I think it could be one of those again where either way you go, there could be a route to you getting to the top of the leaderboards. It could, it might not just be a stud, or bust slate. I think there are ways where the mid-tier route and the stud route could get you there. Just because the value is so volatile and the people are going to jam in certain values. And when they bust, like we saw Kleber, it's going to make it harder for those stud teams to be up there. So that's where I think you could see both routes have some way to path to success in this for what we're talking about here. But Tony, we gotta wrap it up for baseball here. If you have any final thoughts for the slate, I know we got to get our core plays up and, everything like that. But what do you got for us?
No, I mean, I think we covered it pretty good. We got our usual 2 hours or so in here talking about the old 4-game slate. I mean, here's our boy Dunkel too. Let's get Dunkel in here.
Yeah.
There's our boy Dunkel.
We had to see
come in with some baseball winners. Hey, Dunkel, do you believe we talked for 2 hours about a 4-game basketball slate?
I do. I watched bits and pieces. I would say JSU was probably 85% of the chatter, and you were about 10%. It was about 5% of these.
That's some bullshit, Dunkel. I know you didn't watch it then because it was probably 50-50.
JSU, they just said the baseball show's over already. We talked for an hour on the other one. They kicked us off to come to this one. So they started an hour after us. So they're still done before us.
You hate to see it.
Oh, it's so good.
We did talk about one game for we talked about yesterday's games in one game for an hour, and then we had to go back and talk the game again when we got on here because of the Collins in situation.
Sexy Jordan hoodie Dunkel's got on. That thing's looking sharp in there.
Yeah, I mean, I got it from Anthony Wayne. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's respectable in some.
Actually, you got it from Amber Niehaus?
No, not true. I gave it to Dunkel.
Oh, you handed it to him?
I think so. When he was here.
Who boxed it up? Who bagged it up?
No, I handed it to him while I was here. I put it in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, boxed it up. We're not at Abercrombie and Fitch.
Did you not get?
He just handed me the
slip.
I don't think he got one in the initial order.
Uncle Dunkel was just getting handed stuff? Wow, JSU didn't even get handed stuff.
JSU got all his stuff mailed to him because he left everything at my house. He left his backpack full of stuff.
Johnny Sarabian got mailed. I don't know what the fuck Johnny is, but
did it say that when it came?
He actually wrote Johnny on the friggin' slip or whatever. I was like, son of a bitch. Where's Joey Work? Before I get out of here.
Both dudes
Joey Work was told 12:15 because that was the time it was going to start. And then, there's been these scheduling miscues, which JSU, you and I will talk offline about. Don't you worry.
It's always my fault, chat. Just remember this. It's always my fault. I'm the one who takes all the L's. No one else takes an L. I'm the only one that takes all the L's. I get L's jammed into my face, Dunkel. The chat's just killing me earlier, giving me all my L's to my face. Wow.
Don't you worry.
Let's give Johnny his proper ado here. Get him the main attraction here. Let's get him up there.
Some of us have to go and do family things for Easter, Tony. We can't just hang around and talk sports all day with the great Uncle Dunkel. I still want to see Joey work though before we leave.
I
mean,
know. That's what I'm waiting for. Where's this dude at?
I'll message his ass. Don't worry.
He popped in 10 minutes ago and he said, are you ready for Joey Work? We said, yeah, we're ready for Joey Work, and we're still freaking waiting here.
This is bullshit. I need an MLB winner so I can get off this damn show and listen to the rest of it.
What's my name? Skip JSU? I can give you an MLB winner.
Well, give me one then.
JSU.
There he is. That's our boy, Joey Work.
I mean, what is Johnny AirPods doing with the layouts over here?
What do you mean the layouts?
That was actually me. I don't know what I'm doing with it.
See, Chad, I even take Big T's L's. I mean, I can't win on this.
I have no idea how to work it. It's a miracle that it's even on here right now.
I tuned in. All I see is fucking JSU is monstrous. The other two on the side, real
that
small.
was on purpose. That was me doing that. The main attraction is always JSU.
Got it.
Yeah, so it looks like JSU, after you're done talking with me in my office about these scheduling things, looks like you're going to head over to Joseph's office as well to talk about a few things.
Apparently, I'm just going to get it from every end.
Long Easter for Jonathan AirPods.
It's a rough Easter.
You guys going to pick some baseball winners? I don't have to do. Once I sign off, it still goes, right, Dunkel?
You tell me who's running this right now, Simon or you?
Me.
All right, can you make me host?
I don't know how to. What do I do?
Oh boy.
Yeah, Joey, this is gonna go off the rails.
You're not signed in under the bets thing?
So he can leave. Basically, this was gonna happen. Big T can leave, but the video is never gonna shut off until he comes back and shuts it off.
Okay, I'll come shut it off.
All right. So come back in an hour, shut it off. If not, you can just yell at Holden or something.
I'll do that. Can I yell at Johnny?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
Johnny's gonna leave the studio, so you're gonna have to yell at someone else. All right.
Yeah, you guys pick some baseball winners. I'll be back in like 45 minutes.
Okay. Works for
me. JoeyWerk. It's always good to see you.
All right, you both are leaving. Why do we even
Hopefully this feed won't shut down when I sign off.
You see what I mean? It's just like it's crazy. Bye, Anthony. Bye, Johnny.
Why do we even come on this channel?
John, please, before I leave. John.
Sorry, John.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're both Johns.
Yeah, what a sad scene that is.
Oh my gosh.
What the fuck?
All right, they're gonna hang on and fucking pick some winners with us.
Yeah, that never
happens. Okay, guys, bye. We talked our 3-game basketball slate. We're out.
It's okay though. JSU will get a mouthful from me later. Yeah, it's well deserved. There's these scheduling miscues all over the place, but don't worry, he'll get his. I
didn't even get to talk about the gear.
Johnny,
you guys are all talking about the gear. I've fucking been working for a company for 2 years, got no gear except
How
for
great
the
was
shirt
that?
you sent me.
Amber off the top rope to you with the comment.
Yeah, that was baloney too.
They're all in on it.
I was fucking baloney, but I just took it, like a man.
So that's all we can do. That's all we can do. We all eat L's one point or another. All right, so I guess we could start running through this slate. A little nice heater for me recently. It's nice. Tennis hasn't been going my way, but it's nice to see baseball in full stride early on. So on your end today, I guess we could talk on the first game of the day, right? Your NYY. Orioles Yanks. Now I'll tell you this, I really like a play here. This is your team though. Any strong takes you want to have beforehand?
Nasty Nestor on the hill. No, I mean, I went to the game on Thursday night. It was fun. I watched every game basically they played. My brother actually went to the game last night he drove to freaking Baltimore. He's like, you want to go? I'm like, bro, I'm not driving 6 hours to go watch the Yankees play, to drive home the next day for Easter. I'm good. But, this is the Yankees. These are the games they need to win. These games versus the Orioles. Obviously, these games are big. Aaron Judge keeps switching the lineup, which is driving me crazy. No Rizzo in the lineup today. He just keeps switching the lineup in, out. Finally took out Donaldson out of the one hole because that experiment didn't work great. I think he had like 8 strikeouts looking, 3 in one game, and it just kept happening. So I'm happy that they moved that around. But, I mean, I got no strong takes. I do like your play, though.
Oh, you're muted. You hate to see it. You hate to see it already, Joey. So to me, it's a pure value play. And I know it's going to come off chalky or square. I mean, to me, this is all numbers. The Yankees, this total has actually been steamed down to 4.5 at dog money on FanDuel. Interestingly enough, on DraftKings, it's the exact opposite. It was steaming up. But either way, FanDuel right now, you can get this at dog money. So Yankees team total over 4.5. And that was plus 104 currently at FanDuel. Definitely going to be one of my best bets. Is one of my best bets for today. Again, I'm not somebody who bets the Yankees often. I really don't. To me, it's a pure spot. And I know wind's blowing in and that scares people. And the Yankees aren't hitting. But I did like the fact that they started finding the sticks. I saw this with the Marlins a few days ago. And it was nice to ride their sticks for a few games afterwards. They found their stride. It was like either the 5th or 6th inning yesterday, maybe right after a rain delay, where they started piling in runs. And then they had, at minimum, one hit every inning from that portion on. And they had 2 hits in multiple innings. This team, it's nice to see them finding their sticks, and they see a lefty today in good old Baltimore. Again, weather's not super favorable, but this is still a hitter's park. This total, like how many games this year, Joey, do you think the Yankees are going to come into Baltimore and their team total is going to be 4.5 against an average at best arm for Baltimore? To me, it's a pure value spot. Now, granted, look, Yankees could sit here and load the bases every inning and not get any runs, or the exact opposite and just not do anything all game. But again, Baltimore used a few of their decent pen arms these last 2 games as well. I think it's a good spot. Zimmerman never goes deep into games either. I just think it's a really good spot, especially if we can get 1 or 2 to land in the seats today. Seems like a small number overall. And again, this is more of we're not going to see this spot often. So yeah, let's roll over 4.5 Yankees team total. I ended up getting it at 112. I think I'd have to confirm. I think we got it at minus 112. But again, FanDuel steamed one way, DraftKings steamed the other. So yeah, if you're betting it, definitely bet it at FanDuel because DK I think is over 130 right now. But yeah, you like to play, Joey?
Yeah, love it. I'm with you. I'm definitely rooting for runs too, so fuck it.
Cool. Red Sox, Twins, Michael Wacha, Bailey Ober, Boston minus 125, 130, depending on your book, over 9.5. Any looks here, Joey?
I don't have a look here. I was interested in the Twins. I did bet them yesterday. I was interested in them again today, but as we know, what's his name got hurt. He's not in the lineup again.
Buxton. Yeah, he's gonna be out here for 10 days.
Fucking guy gets hurt every single year. And that's a really key piece in this lineup because past like 4 or 5, I'm not really afraid of this lineup at all. Miguel Sano's a black hole down there. Gio Urshela is like in the 4-5 hole, as I mentioned. That guy he batted 1 something last year for the Yankees. Like he couldn't hit for shit. Gary Sanchez, strikeout or homer. I mean, I really wanted to take them against Mr. Wacha because Wacha, I'm not very sold on Wacha here, but essentially I laid off. It looks like it's going to rain too here. So I kind of do trust Bailey Ober. I know the DFS guys are higher on Bailey Ober than I am. Big boy, really big boy. Doesn't really have overpowering stuff, but he keeps the ball down and he has been pitching. He pitched decent last year. He had a rough start to start the year. But I thought this would be a good bounce back spot, but I really don't trust Wacha. So essentially the lean was with the Twins, but I decided not to pull the trigger.
I have nothing here I love. I'll be honest. Did I get caught with my pants down here? I have a decent amount of ownership in this game, bats-wise, on both sides. How likely is it to rain? It looks like the game will play. I mean, it'll be some rain, but it does look like it'll play. Because I'll tell you this. I mean, it'll be super chalky anyway. We won't go too much into DFS, but the Twins are like dirt cheap. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at the DFS slate today, but my God, like what is DraftKings doing? Like you can play like 1 through 7. Like they're all like 3,000 or less for that entire lineup. Yes, I don't know what they're doing there, but so I have decent ownership to at least combat the ownership they're going to have. I don't want to get exposed there. Anyway, so yeah, it looks like there's going to be no rain, so it looks like it'll play. There'll be a little bit of sprinkles, but that game should finish. All right, so I don't have any strong takes in the actual game though, betting wise. I guess you could say I lean the over because I do like bats here, but the bats are all correlated to pricing, so not in love. So we can just move on. Pirates, Nats, this is something you like here. So Jose Quintana, Patrick Corbin, Nats minus 130, total 8. Pirates appear to have a bit of a watered down lineup. But then again, their lineup is watered down like every day. So what does that really mean? But talk us through it, Joe.
Yeah, so this is game 4, 4-game set between these two teams. Nice little day game, wind blowing out. Corbin, Quintana, as you mentioned. Corbin had 2 starts this year, 6 2/3 total innings in 2 starts, 14 hits, 8 earned, 4 walks, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. He has decent numbers versus this team, but I mean, the Pirates are going to be sneaky like this whole year. They're 4-4 after 8 games. This team looks to run. They look to take extra bases when tempted. Like last night, I'd led off the 9th or the 8th, bottom of the 8th with a leadoff triple because the left fielder was just taking a sweet ass time. So Quintana, obviously, this guy, I think he sucks. He pitched good his first start against the Cubs, which is old team. His advanced numbers his last couple of years are really bad, and he just continued to get worse. BVP versus team is bad as well. Over 140 at bats. They bat 344 x-weighted on base percentage, striking out less than 15% of the time. Both teams have used a lot of relievers this whole series as well. Yesterday, both teams used 4 relievers each, and it's basically on average 4 relievers a game for both teams. So the bullpens are definitely taxed. And the scores these 3 games, listen to them, 9-4, 7-2, 6-4. All games going over the total. So give me more runs today. Official play will be over. Full game over 8 via Caesars in New Jersey at -110.
I'm just typing that in for it. It's a little harder for me to type because I don't have the StreamYard, if you know what I mean. Doing this
Got
on
it.
YouTube.
You have to type it into the YouTube stream. Got it.
You hate to see it.
Mylene is the cooking channel program Food Paradise Barbecue Edition. There you go, Larry. Happy Easter, everybody, as well. Yes, roll. Happy Easter, my guy. Great couple days for RP Bets Baseball. Yeah, JJ's hot. So, yeah, he said, like, he's been hot at the beginning, but, he'll never talk himself up. The guy's like 9-1 in his last 10, so I'll suck him off for a little bit.
Settle the fuck down, Joseph. Okay, so Blue Jays Athletics, Alex Manoah, Adam Oller. Yeah, I don't know much about Oller. Maybe you do, Joseph. I know Manoah is becoming quite a stud. I think he looks like more of a stud today on this slate, at least from a DFS perspective, because there's really not a lot of good elite pitching matchups. It is a little scary how much Oakland slapped around Rio yesterday. And do they bounce back again today with more slaps, or is it back to how they should be hitting? But Manoah's in a good spot here overall. Again, like 260 is a fair number here. I think that this whole series, Toronto's been in that like 190 to 220 area. And I've said they should be higher. I know they lost yesterday. Did they lose yesterday? They did. Yeah, they lost late. They came back and still lost. But this Toronto team is going to get runs today. More than likely, it's just a matter of, if Manoah can shut this team down, which he should. So while 260 is high, maybe not high enough between the pitching matchup with Oller. Anything you know about Oller or anything you like in this game, Joey?
I mean, he basically the only reason he made the rotation because they traded Sean Manaea. That was his first start, was his last start, the first one of the year. Basically gave up 5 earned runs, 1 1/3 innings, 2 homers, 3 walks. Basically skipped all of AAA too. He only pitched 8 games in AAA, so he's really came right from AA. So I do expect, a little learning curve for him. And then obviously he gets a good Blue Jays lineup. And how about this Athletics team? 5-4 thus far. Definitely, this team goes out there and competes day in, day out. Obviously, Manoah is just filthy. I watched his first start, basically the whole game. He pitched against the Yankees and was dominant. He kept them off balance the whole time. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. Only allowed 1 hit. This is his sophomore campaign, so if he takes a step forward, he'll be really good for this Blue Jays team. So this team's going to be scary. I mean, it's Manoah or pass for me. Essentially, I'm just going to pass.
Yeah, I mean, that Jays staff overnight, it seems, became really good, their starting staff. And they have a decent bullpen already, and we know about their sticks, so you would hope they put it all together this season. Athletics, quite the opposite, right? But to your point, they're playing well early on. Even though the fact that we're about to be 10 games in, that's still only, barely 5% into the season. So interesting to see how that kind of plays itself out on both ends. But, yeah, I don't love anything in this game myself, so we'll move on to the next one. You know what? Let's go over to – you got a game here, so let's go over to Marlins Phillies. So Eliezer Hernandez, Zach Wheeler, Philly -145, total over under 7.5. What do you like here, Joey?
Yeah, so I'm gonna back Mr. Wheeler, and his hot ass wife in Miami. He did so much struggle in his first start against the Mets, his former team, but Zach is definitely a top pitcher in the league now. No doubt in my mind. Like, we're calling struggle for him is 4 2/3, 1 earned run. That's what we're calling struggle for him. He hit 2 people. So that's basically what we're calling struggle, because he is literally a top tier pitcher in this league. He gets a weaker lineup. Plus he's pitching in Marlins Park in Miami in the Dome. This last year he pitched against his team twice, 7 strong in both starts, 10 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts, and he's basically dominated this team his whole career, striking them out over 25% of at-bats. Phillies hit Eliezer Hernandez pretty damn good, 318 x-weighted on base percentage, 5.60 FIP against. His first start, he allowed 4 earned runs in 4 2/3 versus the Angels, gave up 2 homers. This guy's very susceptible to home run his ball. He walked 3 people as well. He started 1 time versus Phillies team last year, 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 more homers. And this Phillies lineup is scary on paper. I know they probably got bottom 2 is not crazy scary, but they are replacing the pitcher with another bat. So I'll try to keep this. I'll keep this to a first 5 because Phillies bullpen was terrible last year, and I do not trust them yet again this year. So official play will be Phillies first 5 -0.5 run, and that is at -105 via FanDuel.
Wow, I mean, Love the spot with you as well, by the way. And also, I didn't realize how much of a stud Wheeler is.
Yeah.
His wife's unreal.
Oh, yeah. She's from Jersey. I've seen her at Bar A a couple times. She's a smoke show.
Good for him. All right. So let's go Mets, D-backs, David Peterson. I don't got the full name here. Humberto, is that Castellanos?
Yes. Humberto Castellanos.
Okay, so Peterson, I'm not a big Peterson guy. It seemed like he had stretches of good ball a while back. Interesting to see if he finds it or not. I know he's also had some innings issues, right? Ability to eat up innings issues. 190 though here. What do you think, Joey? Too big, too small, over under 7.5? What do you think?
Yeah, so basically this is going to be my understanding is this is basically a bullpen game for the D-backs. You know, Castellanos, this is his first start of the year. He pitched 2 games out of the bullpen thus far. He did start 7 games last year out of 14 appearances, so he did almost 5 ERA in 45 innings. He hasn't faced any of these Mets hitters, so normally I think that's an advantage for a starter, but I'm not really overly confident in Humberto's stuff here. And now we got David Peterson on the comeback, basically at minus 200 for David Peterson. I mean, I'm not interested in that. This is his first start of the year because Tijuana Walker was put on the IL. He came and relieved Tijuana, pitched 4 scoreless in his only appearance this year. I get he pitches against the lowly D-backs. They're bottom in all offensive categories thus far. Worst batting average in baseball. Worst slugging percentage in baseball. But they actually do have one of the least amount of swings and misses, and they do have the most walks in the league. So they're getting people on base, you know, but they're just not getting the job done. But I cannot tell you to bet, you know, it's dog or pass here. I can't tell you to lay minus 200 with David Peterson.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's hard to love the Mets. The Mets at this number, even though it's against the Diamondbacks. But you know, to that point, their stick should be in a good spot today. You know, if they can get some things going. I haven't liked what I've seen from them this season, to be honest, though, with their sticks as a whole. But you know, maybe this is a spot where they get going. Weather's not ideal in New York today for baseball to travel, but I guess we'll see. But either way, I'm with you. I don't love anything in this spot. We'll go to Guardians, Giants, Aaron Savale, Alex Wood. I've always liked Alex Wood. I feel like he's a guy that, you know, never throws, you know, over 91, 92, but great with location. And for a left-hander, he's actually above average against right-handed bats as well. And the thing with, you know, the Guardians is I don't think they can test left-handed pitching. We kind of saw it with Rodon a few starts ago. And it's kind of been a plague for them over the last few seasons. Now, granted, their lineups is a little different now than it was a few seasons back, but I'd argue they had better sticks back then, especially against lefties, and they still weren't able to produce. It just feels like a spot where, once again, the Guardians are going to struggle against a left-hander, but time will tell. I think the line's fair, though, at 130. I don't think it's egregious at all for them to be on the road. And Savali's not a bad pitcher by any means. He's not great, but he's not terrible. Over under 7.5 makes sense. It is going to be frigid today in Cleveland. Anything you love here, Joey?
Yeah, I'm not crazy either. I mean, Giants going for the sweep, I'm pretty sure, right? They won yesterday again? I'm pretty sure they did. I think they're going for the sweep in this series. Cleveland is, you know, a sneaky team that I'm going to look to bet on. But as you mentioned, probably not in this spot against another lefty. Alex Wood pitched pretty good his first start. I think he went almost 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs against San Diego. He got the win. We bet on him that game. He got the win, 6 strikeouts. So I do think he replicates that. Pitch is good here. Maybe you could lean the under, depending on what you get out of Savale. Savale basically the Giants haven't seen Savale at all. None of these guys. There's two plate appearances versus him. So if you somewhat want to lean under, I lean first 5 under you can take. I know that the full game under, obviously all these numbers are short early on the season. And sometimes Cleveland obviously is getting on base much more than they have in the past couple years, 2 years, whatnot, because normally they were just a bet under team. So they have changed that around a little bit, but nothing official here. Lean would be first 5 under.
All right, cool. Let's go over to White Sox Rays. So Vince Velasquez and JP Fierson, total 8.5. White Sox slightly favored at minus 115. So I really like the Rays team total over here. I know at 4 it's minus 114. At least it was. I can't imagine it moved too much in the last hour or so. I like it for a few reasons. So first of all, this lineup for the Rays today is probably as good as it gets against a right-handed pitcher. And also the White Sox pen is quite fatigued. They've been using all their best arms. They won't be using their closer today, that is for sure. And they've been using a lot of their best bullpen arms to close out a few of these games in this series. I think I've seen the Rays get guys on base this series and just not be able to produce. Vince Velasquez is a guy that can awaken. That's even the right word to use. Awaken these Rays bats, though. He often happens to have severe struggles with walks and also against lefties. The Rays have a decent amount of left-handed bats in this lineup today to offset Velasquez. And again, Velasquez also is not an innings eater. So if he doesn't go long in this game at all, like if he doesn't make it 5, which I think is realistic, the White Sox pen here is not going to be fun on their end anyway. At least the arms are going to be bringing in to stretch 4 innings here, 4 innings plus. And I know the weather is the biggest concern, right? Because it's going to be cold. So can the Rays, outdo that end of it? I think they can. I think they're going to have guys in scoring opportunities most of the game. It's just going to matter if they can plate them. Because the issue with the Rays, right, in a park like this is going to be as if they can hit the long ball. They definitely have guys with pop, but they're going to struggle this year at times in these types of parks to hit home runs. But I think there's going to be a lot of foot traffic today on the Rays end, and hopefully it produces some runs. I think it's rather light, though. Again, Velasquez in this spot. It's not a great spot for him at all. And we're getting a practical opening day lineup for the Rays here. So I like the spot 4. I know they're not hitting that great, but we do see weird things happen on Sundays. And to me, this is a good spot for them, especially when you account for the lack of pen arms available for the White Sox. So, yeah, give me the over 4, -114, FanDuel, New Jersey. What do you think, Joey?
That's Rays team total, right?
Rays team total, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, basically it's going to be a bullpen game for the Rays because Fagerstad's not going to pitch more than 2 innings, I would expect. And the starter, who they have starting? Tommy Romero was terrible in his first start last year too. I mean, this year. So, and Vince, Uncle Vince over from the Phillies. I mean, I like it. Yeah, they're gonna. I think there's gonna be runs scored in this game for sure for both sides. Cool.
All right, let's move on. Brewers Cardinals. Aaron Ashby, Dakota Hudson, Milwaukee -140, total 8.5. I mean, is it just, man, doesn't this feel high for the Brewers? Like Hudson's not bad. I mean, he's not terrible by any. I mean, he's not amazing by any means, but he's not terrible. This line feels thick. But so call it a slight lean in favor of the Cards for me. But I don't necessarily love the spot, which is why I'm not on it. And on your end, Joey, do you like or love anything in particular here? You get a lefty that gets thrown at the Cardinals here, where the Cardinals have a bunch of lefty mashers. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's dog or pass. I'm not crazy on Dakota Hudson, that's for sure. But I mean, this Brewers team, they got to show me something from the offensive end before I could back them at a price. Before I can back them at a favorite price, they have to show me something on the offensive end. They're batting .210, .618, slugging percentage. Their stats are bottom 5 in all offensive categories thus far. I get it. We only played 8 games, 10 game sample size, small sample size, but until they show me something on the offensive end, I cannot back them as favorites. Basically, as a pitching matchup, it's a toss-up, I guess. Ashby's probably a little bit better of a pitcher, but as you mentioned, St. Louis can mash lefties. So I definitely trust their bats much more, too. So this is dog or pass. Essentially, I'm probably just going to pass and just enjoy this one.
Awesome. Okay, we can move over to Rangers Angels. Now, yesterday in the video, I had said that I did not want to keep playing the Angels at this price with the matchup that was yesterday, but they once again won. And they're finally finding their stride, which is really Ohtani that's finding his stride after a slow start to the year. I think now he's got 3 homers in his last 2 games. Angels, another small favorite here. Again, -115, total at 9.5. Martin Perez, Jose Suarez. Yeah, I mean, it's got to worry you, right? If you're back in Texas in this spot, a left-hander against this Angels lineup, just built to mash left-handed pitching. I think that it's a little overstated because I'm not a Jose Suarez guy. So I think if you're going to bet the Angels, I think you're better off betting over their team total. Because I think Suarez could definitely give up runs in this spot. In Texas, maybe people forget, this team made a lot of offseason acquisitions. This team, while they're not going to be like the dog shit they're not going to be like the cream of the crop in this division. They should be potent enough to hang around with some of their sticks. What's your thoughts on this game, Joey? And also, what's your thoughts on some of these recent totals we've seen in Arlington, right? I mean, it's like last year, this played like a very much a pitcher's park. This year, a lot of totals, 9.5, 10 and above. What's your thoughts on both? I guess what we're seeing at these improved totals, not even in warm weather here, and this game in particular.
Yeah. So me and we talked about basically all the stadiums now have. They're all keeping the balls in the humidors now.
Humidors, yeah.
All of the stadiums are now doing it. So I do think that's playing a little bit towards, especially like Tampa. Tampa, we barely ever see runs scored there. Now the friggin' over has hit more than, it's probably like 7-3 to the over in that stadium thus far. So I do think that has played a little bit more than people have realized. Now we're going here. I mean, Martin Perez, I want no part of Martin Perez. And, this Texas team 2-6 to start, I thought they would start a little better. I thought they would get some offense, obviously small sample size, 8 games into the season. They should start winning some of these games at home. But do I think the Angels are that much better than Texas? Probably not. Starting pitching matchup, I do lean Jose Suarez as a better of the two pitchers. But lineup wise, I would probably rather take Texas right now. Maybe not, but over a full 162, I probably would. So this is basically just a toss-up game. You can flip a coin who you think is going to win this game. Maybe I lean with the Angels just because I'd rather stay with a better starting pitcher if I had to pick. But I'm just going to watch this one as well.
Okay. Well, good. Let's move on to the next one. So Rockies Cubs. This is a spot I also like. So Austin Gomber, Drew Smiley, Colorado 130, total 11. We've seen some runs in this series, right? Which isn't crazy in this park, right? But it hasn't been super warm. What I have liked, though, is the Cubs side of things. So, yeah, I like the Cubs over their number currently. Well, I got a 5.5 DK plus 110. You may be able to, if you sit on this and wait, you may be able to get 5 because as I look at this lineup get released, it's not, like, lovely. But what I will say is this. So, over 3 games in this series, Cubs have 36 hits and 9 walks. This team is getting a tremendous amount of foot traffic in this stadium. And if they can get a few balls to fly out of the yard, I know they've been kind of stagnated at around 5 runs a game in this series. And so not exactly love the idea of them going over this, but, Gomer's definitely hittable. And the Cubs do have some decent righties, Magradal Contreras and even like Schwindel and Yan Gomes, Wisdom. Like this team has righties that can get to him. What I don't like about this lineup, and this lineup wasn't out when I bet this, I do like when teams stack righties, but they also mix in a few lefties. I always feel like if you're a left-handed pitcher, like I am, LOL, you kind of like seeing an occasional, you like seeing just consistent righties because it doesn't get you out of a zone, like because you're just consistently pitching to the guy on the same side of the plate. I do prefer when managers throw a lefty, anywhere in between 2 or 3 in between, just to offset a pitcher because you get comfortable on the mound with a bunch of right-handed bats. You can just keep slinging it. But with that said, Gomer definitely struggles more with righties. So I like the fact that there are 9 righties in this lineup. I can't be totally complaining about. But regardless, I just like how their sticks have been hitting in this series. It feels like they have runners on literally every single inning in this series, or have had runners on every single inning in this series. And again, you're talking 45 guys on base without even including a few hit by pitches in 3 games. They should have a lot more runs than they currently do. They haven't been very good at runners in scoring position, and the balls haven't been leaving the yard. But if we can get one of those 2 to check today, I think this does go over 5.5. So I love this spot, especially at dog money, plus 110, Cubs over 5.5. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, I like it. Both teams have definitely scored more runs than I thought was going to happen. Obviously, the Rockies have started good, 6-2 off the rip. Definitely trust Smiley over Gomber. Gomber's numbers at home were really bad, and I expect him probably to be bad again this year. He doesn't really have overpowering stuff. And, Chicago's like another sneaky team like the Pirates. They're going to run. They're going to try to take the extra base because they know – oh, look at this. Best cams in the chat. Sorry. I'm fully sidetracked. Holy hell.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. But I'm with you. I totally like the play on the Cubs team total over. I do expect runs here in this game. More by the Cubs as well.
Awesome. All right, so we'll go to Dodgers Reds. It's going to be another play from you. It was nice to see you get that home yesterday. That was a pretty ballsy play. Andrew Heaney, Tyler Mahle, LA 215 or minus 215, total 8.5. What are your thoughts here on, with this pitching matchup? And Mahle, this is a lot of respect for Heaney in this spot, which kind of makes sense to a certain extent, but definitely not too much. What do you like here, Joey?
Yeah, so yesterday I took the Reds on the first 5. I'm going to do the same thing here. To make money, you got to find value spots in baseball. Take the dog, and this is a good spot, I think. Just as I did yesterday, I think we do the same thing here. Andrew Heaney, I don't care about Heaney pitching one good game, all right? The guy sucks. He always gives up homers. He leaves the ball up. And I bet you he probably loses his starting rotation spot sometime this year. Mahle, on the other hand, has been really good last 3 years. ERA in the 3, striking out more than a batter per inning. And he strikes out this LA Dodgers team over 22% clip. He has very respectable 2.87 FIP versus them, 243 X batting average versus against. So I get this Dodger lineup is scary, probably the best lineup in baseball, But, as I said, you got to take some dogs in these spots, and this is where I think there's a lot of value on this dog here. Heaney, 4.35 FIP versus Reds team. And I get this Reds team did struggle versus lefties last year, but Heaney is not your average lefty, He doesn't have everything overpowering. He leaves the off-speed pitch up, as I mentioned, and he's very susceptible to a home run ball. He gave up a lot of home runs last year, and I think that's going to happen again this year. So great value spot for me. I'm going to do 2 half-unit correlated bets on this. Reds first 5 money line plus 160. Reds first 5 plus a half run, both plus 1 at plus 118. So 2 plus money spots there, both half-unit correlated plays.
Love it. Taking a stab. Okay, so we got 2 more games here with the one game that got postponed, the Royals Tigers. Mariners, Astros, Matt Brash, Jose, your kitty. So it was nice for me to get that under home yesterday, relatively sweat-free. Verlander looks incredible. I don't know what the hell he's on, but he looks incredible. And it was nice to see Flexen throw a little better from his first start. I think he'll get a little more into the motion or a little more into how he threw last year as he gets more starts on him because he's got good stuff. And he's really good with his location as well. But Matt Brash and Jose Urquidy here. Line's basically a pick 'em, total 7.5. What's your thoughts on this one, Joey?
This is an interesting game. Matt Brash is a beast. I don't know if you've seen his stuff, but, man, this guy has really, really good stuff. This will be the first time, I want to say, that this Houston team is seeing him. Yeah, so I do expect them to keep them off balance to start. So I know 7.5 number. Urquidy's good, too. Keeps the ball down. He worked out a lot of jams, and he pitched really good his first start as well. I think he's just going to continue to get better and better. So a lean would be the under, first 5 under here. Nothing official, but that would just be a lean.
Okay, yeah, and I think you could go right back to the under as well. I don't necessarily love it because to me you're getting 7.5 here at the same number with a better pitchers matchup, which was yesterday. Now I think that because it's a Sunday, you could get a little bit of lineup degradation here, which would of course help the under. But I think if you get relatively starting opening day lineups from both teams, to me, there might be some value on the over just because, again, if you're correlating yesterday to today. But, again, I don't love it in any way. I mean, Seattle's definitely a pitcher's park. And even if it's cold enough where they shut the roof, it's not going to be ideal regardless. And, to your point, Brash has looked good. And Urquidy's definitely an underrated arm for sure. He got hurt last year in the middle of the year. I'm not sure if he actually came back late in the year, but he looked really good before he got hurt. So either way, I have arrows going both ways, so it's a pass for me. Padres, Braves, Yu Darvish, Bryce Elder, San Diego minus 135, total 8. Is Nick Williams? Is that who pitched yesterday? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I like that kid. I feel like he hung a few balls yesterday, which obviously left the yard. But I like him. I think he's got good stuff. And the Braves still found a way to get over him. Matt Olson, what a pickup he's looked like for this Braves team. I mean, the dude for a left-hander hits so many opposite field home runs. It's kind of crazy. But that lineup is just as good, if not better, than it was last year. And they're missing Acuna at the top, right? So, but either way, as for this matchup, a little warmer today, I believe, in San Diego than it was yesterday. What's your thoughts here? Total's a little less, but I'd argue the pitching matchup is better today. Again, San Diego minus 135, total 8. What do you like here, Joey, if anything?
Yeah, so it's pretty Bryce Elder, basically, he was the 2020. He was drafted in the 5th round. This guy has basically been shot right through the minors. He basically had 1 season in the minors last year. Now he's already up in the majors. He had his first start of his career was the last one out versus Washington. 5 2/3. He's pitched pretty good. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, gave up 2 homers, no walks, 4 strikeouts. So I do think it's going to be a little learning curve for this guy. He basically was expedited right through the minors, right to the majors. I get it. He played in college. He played in Texas in college. So, he definitely has a proven track record there. But I think he's going to have to take a step back here. But I don't know if I want to put my money on Yu Darvish after that last start. Holy hell. I mean, what did he give up? 8 runs last start? Like, he looked terrible in that start. I was watching that game. He looked really bad. And but he has decent numbers versus Braves team. Obviously, as you mentioned, Acuna is not in the lineup, or he's not projected to be in the lineup. This is Sunday Night Baseball, so the lineup's not out yet. But Yu has really good numbers versus team: 243 x-weighted on base percentage, 277 slugging against, 159 batting average against, striking him out over 30% clip and almost 100 at bats. So I guess the lean would be with San Diego, but I'm just going to watch this game. I'm not putting any money on it.
I think the interesting thing with like a guy like Darvish this year is because it's so early and you get these guys that have between 1 and 3, 1 and 4 starts early on, and you see, bad outputs. It's always hard to justify, right? Is it bad mechanics or is it bad, did they just have a bad start? Sure. Because, a pitcher could get rolling right in the middle of the year, throw like 8 or 9 straight quality starts, and then they get blasted one game and you won't overreact then, right? Because you would think, oh, well, it's just, one bad game. He was due for it. And it's always tough. Like I remember, I think it was the one year Greinke won had the ERA title. It was like 10, 12 years ago. He started out like his first 2 starts was like, he got blown the fuck up and then just, then went through such a torrid stretch. So interesting to see if it's a mechanics thing, but it might be a mechanics thing where we've seen pitchers start the year where they just get ripped every start and they go down to AAA for a few weeks and then they come back and they're relatively okay. Sport is so mechanical driven in terms of technique and whatnot, and you can easily lose yourself, especially on the plate swinging, not as frequently on the pitching end. But interesting to see if a guy like Darvish can bounce back because we know what he's capable of. This line does seem a little soft, but I guess time will we'll see how he looks today. Overall, let me look through some of these questions here because I don't have the liberty of being able to flag them in here.
Yeah, he just hasn't missed many bats, and you're definitely going to need that to succeed at this level, especially if you're going to be a starting pitcher pitching try to 6 innings, 5-6 innings. You're going to have to miss some bats. And I think he struck out 2 people last start. He was having a lot of trouble missing bats. So we'll see. But I'm definitely a watch and see what goes on with Darvish.
Okay. Yeah, let me go through some of these here. Happy Easter, Travis. I can't click on these comments, so I apologize in advance. Is there a NASCAR show today? Yes, I think there's a NASCAR DFS show going on right now, Travis, if you were to peek over to Run Pure Sports. But, Jay will definitely be live on the NASCAR end. What stats sites do you guys use the most? So this is an interesting question, right? So I'm a Fangraphs guy. I know it's early on in the year. I don't think you can overreact to data. But I definitely prefer Fangraphs for some of the advanced stuff. Joey, what do you use?
Yeah, I use Fangraphs. Basically, I do Fangraphs starting pitcher. I type in everybody's name and make my own little sheet out of the Fangraphs. So, and I export it, and it has all the starting pitching numbers via there.
Look at you.
And bullpens, whatnot. But
a little data savant.
Yeah, I normally just type in all their names by the last name and then group it and then do the whole fucking print out the whole sheet.
Okay. You see Fader Lay, you're going to make me look up his wife. I promise you weren't going to be disappointed, Fader Lay.
Yeah.
I wasn't. That's for sure. AP, appreciate you. Where are the Lakers? LOL. Another where you get you guys' stats. So, and then King, 95% of stats are made up. I don't know how true that is. I'd probably say it's not true, but I mean, you're talking objective numbers. Still like the 4.5 plus 112. I presume that was.
I think that was on your first play.
Was it? If it was
the Yankees,
maybe Rays. I would say you can go half there, maybe wait an inning to see if it. I mean, likely. I mean, I need 5 to win myself. I just get to push at 4, so I can't not like 4.5 at dog money, but I do prefer the 4 if that helps you. And then the 6-7 total pitches. His hard rate is, I wasn't sure who Wallow was referencing there. Reds team total over. Can't bet against my Dodgers team. I mean, Gerardo, I don't know what to tell you. You can't bet against your favorite team. I don't know what to tell you. Smiley proven he can give up that home run ball in the past, but Cubs team total instead of full game over. I personally prefer the Cubs team total just because I know I'm going to get the 9 at bats regardless. Smiley can be pretty dominant at times. I think that the Rockies definitely have righties that could put pressure on him for sure. But Smiley can really look good in certain instances. I do prefer the one-sided end of the Cubs versus both sides. Again, if that helps. Did anyone like the Yankees today? I bet their team total over external. Whether they win or lose, that's what I prefer. All right. Other than that, I guess we're waiting for Big T to close this out. But Joey, you look all dressed up today. What's going on for Easter?
I mean, this is my Easter color. Isn't that like green is like the Easter colors, right? Green, okay. Fucking.
And you're rocking Ralph Lauren. I figure you to be a brands guy.
A little pink, yeah. Maybe I'll go to church. Maybe I won't, but I'm definitely gonna eat a lot. That's for sure.
I mean that church bell kind of came and went, right? I mean,
yeah, it's probably out.
I mean, you're gonna go to church at 4 in the afternoon.
No, I'm gonna go pick up my grandma and then go to my parents' house, and we're gonna eat a shit ton.
Okay.
How about yourself?
Going to the in-laws be a decent time. I'll be sober, so that'll be good.
There you go.
Always good to be sober on Easter. See, folks, you can be sober on Easter without issue.
Where's my boys?
Oh, he heard his name and came right
I
in.
did. I had it up just because I didn't want to forget. And
Is that like an RPS hat that no one else can get, or
No.
what are we rocking here?
It's,
Okay.
It's a
I like
Pirates
that.
hat. It's a
Do they make
Pirates
that
hat.
in every? I guess they would make that in every team, right? I might have to give some Mariner one of them.
No, it's a Puma hat.
Oh, it's not a Pirates hat.
Thank you, Joey
No.
Work.
No. I got you, bro.
So just shows you how cultured I am.
Yeah, guy doesn't get out much.
Who's the stack of the day in baseball after you guys just gave the winners? I haven't built my baseball teams yet.
I'll tell you who I stacked, Anthony.
Is Toronto ever going to score?
I think JJ won. He shipped some last Sunday too. He's a big
I'm sure he
Sunday
didn't
guy.
tell anybody. Did
No,
he? Even, tell
he
his
didn't.
wife?
He didn't. But I was in the same contest, so I took a screenshot and put it in the fucking.
Yeah,
Discord.
that's how we got to do it with him. I mean, the dude he's won like 14 out of
10K.
15.
Yeah.
Hasn't told a soul. He wins
Yeah.
baseball last week. Didn't tell anyone either. I mean, it's he did tell people when he whooped DC's ass on the slab, though.
Yeah,
Giving him
yeah. Good thing he told me because DC owed me some bread after that.
I mean, I tried to tell people I can play a little bit, not as much these days, but a little bit. Okay, so I stacked to be different. So I think the pitchers are going to be pretty straightforward, right, Tony? I mean,
Who's the pitchers?
People are going to play Manoah, Wheeler.
Who are you playing? I don't care who everybody's playing. I want to know who you're
Well,
playing.
I split it down the middle with Manoah and Wheeler. I played a little Cortez and a little Corbin and Peterson. Those are the guys I played.
Which stacks?
And then I stacked the Yankees. I stacked the Rays. I stacked the Brewers.
Brewers. When do you get to the good teams you stacked?
Well, I'm trying to win a tournament. I'm not trying to be like everybody else.
I'm just messing with you. I like it.
So yeah, if I want to be like everybody else, I guess I'll just stack the Blue Jays for the 10th game in a row, and they'll go down again. But yeah, I do have some Blue Jays exposure to keep myself honest. But yeah, I think I tried to stack some games where there's some sneakiness to them. I definitely have a decent amount of Red Sox ownership as well. And I think it's going to be hard to, especially if you're stacking top pitch, it's going to be hard to dodge the Twins entirely. So a few Twins, call it 5 total lineups with those variation of stacks.
Twins, I like it.
But that's where I'm at. So any final words from you, Tony?
No, trying to get these basketball cores up, baseball. If you're on the we got all kinds of content today, all kinds of shit. Bets. How many bets we got up? A bunch of bets too, right?
It's got to be a lot.
Let's see.
Yeah,
there's like 8 or
11.
just in
Yeah, look at all these freaking bets. Why does it say 9-1 next to JJ? And I haven't heard a word about it.
I said it.
Does that mean he's 9-1 his last 10 and
Yes,
hasn't told anyone?
Yeah, the guy's hot as hell. I said it. I sucked him off a little bit, but you could do a little more if you want. I don't know.
I like sucking him off, especially with that good Jordan sweatshirt on.
Yeah.
When's Joey Work getting his?
Fucking 2 more years, probably.
I don't know. You might get it quick now that Amber's on.
I can't wait to home make that hat Tony has on with a Seattle Mariner with
the Seattle Mariners on it.
But yeah, other than that, folks, be sure to gamble responsibly. Stay safe. As always, run pure, stock full of content today. If you want to play NBA, you can check out what we had here earlier. Check out the DFS end, more baseball content at DFS and NASCAR content. So crazy busy day on all our ends. Just because it's Easter, we don't stop. But as always, folks, run pure. We'll see you next time.